Is anyone else in their 30s hating their 30s so far? I don't like my 30s so far at all, because all I can think is how I'm nowhere where I want to be or thought I'd be. And now I'm worried about how fast time goes, and I'm still in the same place basically despite all my trying. In my 20s I may have been lost and more poor, but at least I had time. I wasn't feeling like the only one. I wasn't always single. I didn't see almost everyone having babies or making good money. I feel exactly this. I'm not hating my 30s, but I'd say it's a mixed bag. I have more financial stability than I had in my 20s. My relationship with my husband is better, and I feel more put together. But I also feel much more worried about the future than I did in my 20s, stuff I didn't think about at all in my 20s. Like whether I'll have enough money to retire comfortably. Seems suddenly very important in my 30s. My parents are starting to seem old and have health problems. And while their health problems are all manageable right now, it makes me suddenly think about what their end of life care is going to require of me. I feel like I compare myself to my friends a lot more regarding stuff like not being a homie R1 yet. This is exactly how I feel. Definitely way more stable than 20s financially, but don't own a house, and it seems impossible. I never had anxiety until like 4 years ago and now I'm worried about everything. It's important to keep in mind that life is always changing, and there's no set pattern for how it should be experienced. My life never really came together like it was supposed to. I'm nearly 40, never married, had kids, sort of have a career-ish, but I constantly question it. I have friends but no one all that close. Few check in on me. I have family and we get along okay, but I don't feel at home with them. Lately I have let that get me down. All these things that I don't have. And how disconnected I feel at times. It's tough. But I'm learning that when I forget what life is supposed to be, I'm happy. I have a number of talents I have worked hard to develop throughout my life and they bring me a lot of happiness, even when I'm totally alone. I have an endless fascination with science, history and the world in general. It's hard to get bored. I was very awkward when I was younger, but I worked hard to develop social skills and enjoy interacting with people, even when it's just small talk with the barista. Always feels great to make someone smile. Even though I'm jealous of some of my friends' family situations, I genuinely enjoy seeing their milestones on social media. It's a choice. I know how hard it is to hear people say stuff like this when you are depressed. When nothing seems right and change seems impossible and the idea of hope seems painful. Change is possible, but it tends to take its time when you need it to hurry up. But consider that it might be some expectation that you are holding on to that keeps dragging you into feelings of suck. Freedom from expectations is tough to accept, but worth it. I thought my life would have more connection than this, and I feel sad that I feel this sense of disconnection. I don't think I ever understood what people were talking about when they said they needed a sense of belonging or community until I hit my early 30s. I had to adjust in my 30s to a whole new group of friends and a new dynamic. The friends of my 20s partied and had fun and were more carefree. I was too. By my 30s, I wanted friends that were my support system as well as the occasional celebration buddy. Those friends were my lifeblood. I'm eternally grateful that I found them. We had a blast just doing fun, but more tame stuff. Now, as I close my 40s, things are shifting again. I recently moved, and I'm having a heck of a time finding that again. I can't monopolize every minute of my husband's free time, and I don't want to, so I'm trying to find and build relationships with women my age in a new place where the dynamic is very different from the place I lived previously. I miss my people terribly. The hours I work and the rural area where I live leave little time and opportunity for socializing. We are slowly building a network, but it's hard. Community is absolutely the cornerstone in life. I hope you find them. They are out there. Yup, turned 30 mid 2019. So everything turned upside down shortly after. Took a leap of faith and moved cross country last year and my mom died shortly after. Now my 30s are practically half over with nothing to show for it, and I've never been more lost and nihilistic. 16-year-old me probably thought I'd be living the high life by now, And that's all personal life speaking. The political and legal landscape have taken severe blows in my adulthood as well, which adds fuel to my hopelessness. My condolences on your profound loss. I think you may just be going into the next phase of adulthood. When I transitioned to mid-30s, I had a huge identity crisis. I realized my whole identity had been school, career, professional licenses, salary, etc. That isn't me. It's what I do. My husband actually told me to just quit my soul-sucking job, government and not high pay, and just figure myself out. We were not flush with cash. He made a decent but modest income and had health insurance. So I did it. For 2 years I just did nothing but household stuff. I actually loved it. Then I got restless. Started my own consulting company and 5 years later sold it because I was working 24/7. I needed to shut off and reprogram my brain. It helped. But I still have to remind myself that I'm not the sum of my educational and professional life. I lost the real me in the shuffle. I wish you the best and hope you find what you are looking for. I don't hate my 30s. I mostly just hate myself // // Agreed. This doesn't even include the insane prices of everything and the insane front everyone puts on social media. This is weird as F, and I hate it all. I feel for everyone struggling. I'm also struggling, but it is definitely because of my choices in my 20s. I am, more or less, blessed to be alive. So, while it is generally a daily struggle to get what I need to done in hopes of catching up, I'm thankful for the opportunity. That being said, this economy is a bit shit. Not hating my 30s. Paresi. I just dislike that people no longer give a ress about me, who I am, or what I've accomplished, and all anyone wants to talk to me about is getting married and having babies. Theiis. MF 29 and nobody in my family gives a ress about me anymore. It's all just, are you pregnant? Are you trying to get pregnant? When are you going to get pregnant? It seems like the right time to get pregnant. You are getting old. Don't take too long before you get pregnant. Do you have trouble getting pregnant? Can't wait for the grandkids, or just front up assuming I'm pregnant. Fuck oof. People need to stop looking at my stomach as well and stop offering me alcohol-free beer. I'm not pregnant or trying to get pregnant. I'm in my 40s now and single, never married, so giving my 2 cents here. I remember my early 30s being hard, but because I'd lived through my 20s, which were also very difficult, I was better prepared for that. Now, once I got to my mid-30s, I felt so much stronger, but also young enough to get out and live it up and enjoy the world. In my experience, the early 30s were difficult because there is so much happening around you. Babies, marriages, promotions, etc. I was late bloomer in many ways. Less money, less established career, no partner, and I couldn't help but compare. At times I felt bad about how I was doing in comparison to how my peers appeared to be doing. Keyword here, appeared. However, something happened in my mid-30s where I started to realize that no one had it figured out. A lot of people are settling for something instead of holding out for what they really want. Or they don't have as much financially or lifestyle wise as it appears. They start to get divorced, etc. My social circle got smaller but better, and you focus on where you are and what you actually want, not what society says is what you should be or have. It's a facade. And that is even more stark now with social media amplifying stuff. Also, a lot of folks get help with finances and career if they have more affluent networks or family money. I was from a low-income background, am a POC, and have just recently been diagnosed with neurological condition. I used to beat myself up for so long, but the playing field was never even. I really enjoyed my late 30s, and I'd say that it was a better decade overall than my 20s. It's less volatile and there are fewer firsts. But if you've learned your life lessons, you're more focused on your needs and a better rounded person as a result. To add, I'm now mid-40s, and I'm still learning and evolving. Some periods are easier, some are more difficult, but the best thing you can do at any time or age is honor your true self and once and trust your gut. Don't be discouraged or distracted by how people present themselves. And always keep learning and stay curious. Thanks Ted Lasso. The worst thing is it feels like this is so taboo to talk about. If you don't say getting older is wonderful and your 30s are the best time of your life, you get hate. I don't hate my 30s. But I feel you people acting like you're betraying feminism, or hell, living unhappily at them, if you complain about any challenges. Personally, I can't assess the different decades of my life so holistically. My 20s weren't universally wonderful or terrible, and neither are my 30s. But I do wish folks could show a little more sympathy toward people who are struggling with the transition. I think it's a mixed bag. Negatives. Parents are stressing me out because they are aging with no retirement plan. We're in a cost of living crisis. My biological clock feels like it's ticking. Work is stressing me TF out. Weight is harder to lose. Positives. I'm more secure in myself and know who I'm as a person. Financially secure. Good group of friends. Good partner. Started working more on myself and going to therapy. Finally found hobbies that feel worth it. As someone else posted, yes, because I'm not where I thought I'd be. When I was younger, I thought I'd be more stable in income and work as well as more confident. I just turned 32 and I'm still broke as hell, living in inefficiency with not much hope in sight. I'm finishing up my masters this year at least, which may give me a bit more stability, but it's been a miserable last year in the program and it's in a field that isn't known for the pay. I DC about babies, since that's a big no for me. But seeing those around me who are making so much more and aren't breaking the bank on small trips has me feeling extra down about myself and my abilities. I think COVID has ruined the past several years, and we are still trying to rebuild mentally from that, as well as figure out how to live life and be social and have community, which may take years more. We've never had an era with years and years of war, where the entire country is just a mess of sadness and anxiety and loss. We are living our version of that now. We are also living in a world where our generation isn't going to have it better than the last generation. Many of us feel depressed and a lack of hope. If someone was feeling great every day, I would be very curious how they accomplished that mental state. I've been able to find peace and some joy through focusing on what I can do differently, setting boundaries, stopped expecting what I want to come to me, and started leaving the house and trying a lot more. That has helped. I truly do believe that the vast majority of people will never be happy if they are sitting at home and waiting for it to come to them. If they just read the right books and listen to the right podcasts. We all need community more than ever, and it takes work to find and build. I'm suffering. Yes, my 30s have been and continue to be really hard, and I miss my 20s a bit. I'm so sad to see the overwhelming anxiety I see here in the comments. I'm almost 50. My 30s were absolutely the best decade. The early 30s were rough. No lie, what? New job. Very little money. Husband was still in school. By the end of my 30s we were starting to get our footing, and we are more confident. That was also when I learned to stop catastrophizing. Bad things are going to happen. Nothing can change that. I chose to deal with each day as it came. I also let go of societal and cultural expectations. I never had kids, by choice and due to health issues. I decided that the amount of success I achieved was okay with me. I stopped trying to do too much to prove well. I really don't know what I was trying to prove. I got in the best shape of my life. I accepted that I had health issues that weren't my fault, born with a heart defect that required surgery at 29, and again at 34, and now facing another one, and a neurological issue from damage sustained during delivery. I decided to be grateful for what I did have and not to compare myself to others. I feel for you all. You live in a different age than me. Social media, hustle culture, girl boss culture, unattainable beauty standards, extreme pressure to succeed, insane competition amongst peer groups, superman pressure, I can do anything and everything attitudes, and toxic positivity has really damaged young people's ability to be content. It's okay to be happy. It's healthy to be content. You don't have to be positive and happy all the time. It's okay to dream. It's okay to not dream. There is nothing wrong with being unsure of the future. You are young. Enjoy the journey and others' opinions be damned. You only have one life. Don't waste it trying to convince yourself that you are not good enough or need to do more. Be good enough for you. Change the way you view yourself, and the world and everything will start to change. What's happening around us is often a sign of what's going on inside of us. Don't change your circumstances. Go inward and work on some personal development. I've been where you are, and from my mid-30s I was devoted to my personal growth and healing in my 30s, and it's been the best decade of my life. It changed everything for me. That being said, this particular year has had countless challenges, but I'm navigating them in a more empowering way than ever before. I'm 39 now, and feel it in my bones that my 40s will be even better. For the record, I'm single, no kids. What time if my life for the last year, and I'm 35 now. I'm right there with you. Yep, turned 30 last year and just feel miserable. Not where I wanted to be in my career. No partner. Watching all my friends drift away and settle down. I think it's important to try and remember nothing lasts forever. We all have shitty periods in our life. Some last weeks, months, years, but it never lasts. There is a way through. Just takes time. My 30s for me have been a mixed bag. I'm 35, and I've had my fair share of good and bad. 31, had to move back in with my dad in my home state after a terrible breakup from a 5-year relationship that left me utterly broken and useless. Got a new job and focused on paying down student loans. Got therapy for said aftermath of breakup. Learned a lot to hopefully not keep falling for the same kind of men. 32 to 33, COVID happened and lost 5 years of my life to staying indoors and losing my full-time status at my job to part-time for 10 months. It was high stress for the whole country. 33 to 34, decided to move back to where I went to college to be closer to my mom and sister. Got a job transfer and moved into my own apartment. Decorated it and felt like I was heading in the right direction. Some months later I met the most wonderful man and things began looking up. 35, started loathing my job, would cry several times in the office bathroom. Eventually I quit and moved in with my now fiancé who I'm getting married to in less than 2 months. The first half of my 30s was a bit rough. Things aren't perfect still. I still don't know what to do for a career, which does bother me because when I was younger, I felt like I was capable of much more. But the years have a way of creeping up on you. When I think about the good things in my life now, it does make me hopeful for a better latter half of my 30s. Yes, my 30s suck, and I know everyone's experiences aren't the same, but it does make me feel sad/embarrassed/pathetic when so many people, especially on here, are like no way. The 30s are the best time of my life. That's true for them, for sure. But it makes me feel even more like I fucked up somewhere, which I definitely did, but I hate the reminders. Yes, it feels like people have gotten unfriendlier. I feel more invisible to society than I was in my 20s. But I'm also not as into my looks as I was before. I'm also out a lot less, mostly to pick up groceries or takeout, so 10-minute interactions with other humans. If I have to interact with someone, I've been married now for a long time, have a decent amount in my retirement funds, and I'm a homeowner, so I'm blessed in that way. But lately I've been having medical issues, and it looks like I'm infertile or something, so that has been a downer. I've said this before, the vast majority of people who say their 30s are the best thing ever are in long-term relationships. I was single for parts of my 20s, and it wasn't nearly as bad. I've been single for most of my 30s so far, and this has got to be the worst decade of my life so far. I hate the fact that I do honestly feel like my 30s would be better if I was in an LTR. It's horrible, but that's what I wanted for this stage of my life, and my 20s tbh, so to not have that is hurting for me. There's no shame in wanting that. It's perfectly normal. I want the same. It hurts me chronically. Only in abo 30 will someone try and make you feel bad for wanting an LTR by saying something like, why on earth would you want a relationship? I just love having the whole bed to myself. As kindly as I can say this, I tried to piece together some context based on your post history, and I think it might just be your viewpoint. Seems like you might be a little too zoomed in on the negatives in your life despite saying otherwise about a positive mindset. I feel like you're not you. Specifically, 30s is a culmination of all that you learned in your 20s after your expectations have been corrected. If you're having a bad time, you'd probably benefit from doing a life review and making changes where they're necessary. Your 30s are a great time to start seeing a therapist. I say this from experience. You spend your 20s thinking everything's going to come together by your 30s, and when it doesn't, it can feel crushing. I didn't get my S together until my 40s. Look for a local Jiu-Jitsu gym. Jiu-Jitsu is a sport even older people can practice. I'm in my late 30s, and I even compete in it. The sense of belonging and community, if you find the right gym, helps a lot to those feeling lonely or struggling. It absolutely keeps you in shape and healthy while learning to defend yourself and learning something new. It's so empowering. There's nothing like it, dude. I hope you find a gym and look into it. I hate my life, not my age. I think everyone has their own life path. If this one isn't working for you, you may need to explore other paths. I was single for half of my 30s, and I'm now in a LTR. But that isn't the basis of why I'm happy now. I grew up with a rough childhood. My mother died from alcoholism in my early 20s. And it took a long time for me to heal from that, but I had to do the work. I made a lot of mistakes and did a lot of things I'm not proud of in my 20s in that journey that I took as lessons and learned from them. That's the main reason I'm much happier in my 30s. Yes, as you get older, friends seem to dissipate, and it can be lonelier at times as people follow their own paths. I think that's pretty universal though. I don't hate them, but they are definitely less fun than my 20s. Everything's a bit boring now,